One more day mentality. Let's talk about what that means on day 27. So you can probably see it's pretty snowy outside. Anyone that lives in this area, you know, we got about 7 inches of snow. And as I was driving to the gym this morning, it popped in my mind like, man, it's pretty unfortunate that a lot of these people that have the goal of investing in themselves and their fitness, January 1, we're less than a week into January and the roads are pretty tough right now, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't make it in. And, you know, that's a legitimate excuse. Of course, you want to be safe and you don't want to put yourself in danger by driving on the roads. And I was able to make it into the gym, and I was really proud of the 30 or so people that were in there still. But I was thinking about folks that maybe didn't make it, and even though that is a valid excuse maybe to not make it in and hit that Sunday workout goal that you have, but there's other things that can then be accompanied by that excuse, like on Monday morning when you wake up and you're a little bit too tired because you didn't get enough sleep, or hey, you got that big meeting coming up and you've been pretty stressed, so you're just not going to prioritize working out that day, you're going to push it off. And it makes me think about this one more day mentality. What does that mean is, what if we just woke up and told ourselves, hey, there's a million things that are going on in my life. Yes, of course there's a ton going on and it's going to be difficult to achieve my goal. But what if I can just achieve whatever that goal is, insert goal here, what if I could just achieve that for today? Because one thing that I think bums people out is we make these big goals like, hey, all year long I'm going to get to the gym, or all year long I'm going to eat extremely healthy. And it can almost feel like overwhelming when we're on day 23 of 365, that when we're looking forward of like, hey, there's 300 more days this year, I just don't think I'm going to be able to keep this up. Like when you get caught up in thinking ahead and just the long haul of these goals and how difficult it can be day in and day out, it can really be demotivating, kind of freak us out, and we quit. But what if we reframed the goals that we had, not only for fitness, but the goals of reading our Bible, the goals with connecting with others, the goal of going the extra mile in whatever facet of life? What if we could just pare all that down to this one more day mentality? Again, it's like, no matter the excuses or the circumstance or the storms that are going on in your life, what if you could just look yourself in the mirror every single morning and say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know what's going to happen by the end of the day. But whatever my circumstance is, it sucks right now, but we're going to get it done today. Whatever that goal, I always talk about the contract you sign with yourself. Like, today's one of those contract breaking days for a lot of people, right? It's like, I promised myself I was going to get to the gym, promised myself that I was going to eat healthy, but I didn't make it to the store today, or I didn't make it to the store yesterday, so now the weather's bad, so I'm going to go eat the pizza that's in the fridge. Like, you can make all of these excuses, and it's so freeing and so satisfying. We talk about like being a friend to yourself and how important it is to like keep the promises that we make to ourselves. And when you start doing that over a period of time, you really become a better friend to yourself because you've made those promises. We had a video on that a week or two ago. Over time, like days like today, that one more day mentality, when you make it in the gym, and I had some good conversations with some folks in there today that were braving the weather, that were sweating it out. You do that long enough, you are going to see yourself totally differently. You're going to be proud of yourself. You're going to have confidence in who you are. Your self-esteem is going to rise. You're going to be able to shine that light to so many other people. But again, the theme of the day is one more day mentality. Jocko Willink says it like this. He says, rest days are important for people. Sometimes we do need a break as humans. But what if we just told ourselves, like you wake up and you're not feeling good and your body's kind of telling you like, hey, take it easy today. What if you just change that? It's okay. I'm going to take it easy tomorrow though. Like I'll take my rest day. I'm going to chill out just tomorrow. Like procrastinate in action. And if you procrastinate in action, then the cool thing is wake up tomorrow. See how you're going to feel. Because, you know, you're going to be proud of yourself that you went ahead and did the thing. You did the dang thing today. You got the work in. And then maybe tomorrow when you wake up, you feel a little bit better. So you go again. I think in a world, if we could just procrastinate inaction, and that's the only thing we procrastinated, it might change the way we feel about ourselves, and it's surely going to change the results that we have in whatever it is that we're aiming towards. So let's talk about Galatians chapter 6, verses 7 through 9. It says, do not be deceived, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Let us not become weary in doing good. And you know what? The crazy thing is, we're humans, and it talks about in other spots in the Bible, like, our flesh fails us. It talks in Romans a ton about, like, we know what we need to do. We just don't do the things that we know we need to do. In fact, for whatever reason, we very keenly at times do the things we know we shouldn't do. And so it's like, according to the flesh, yes, let us not grow weary. But like according to the Spirit, let us not grow weary. But our flesh will be discouraged and tired and unmotivated. But how about if we just are so intentional in our lives that we can procrastinate that? We can procrastinate the non-motivation. And you get better at this as you have this physical and spiritual training. It's like when I showed up today at the gym, it's like I was like excited braving the weather today. Instead of like, a few years back, I might have been like, I don't even know why I'm going. And you could have this mentality of like, oh, I'm cold. Like I got out of the car, walking into the gym, my legs were cold. It's like I'm already tight walking in. But now it's like good. Like as the kids would say, like I want all the smoke when it comes to that stuff. Like I want the adversity. And if you lean into that over time and you get better in your mindset and your framing of that, you can achieve a lot, man. You can achieve a lot more than you ever thought you could. Changes the way you treat people, surely changes the way that you treat yourself. So I thought that was just really topical today. Like, it's early January, people have all these goals, and I love it. I hope people stick with them. But like, today's one of those days that it's good to pause for sure, like depending on what you got going on in your life. Sometimes it's good to pause and just like 90% of my day, I'm pausing. We're of course not working, it's a Sunday, but can't really go a ton of places that are closed right now. So we're just spending time with the family. We're just hanging out, having a great time. But like, it still didn't stop me from investing in myself. And I just hope, whether that's reading a book today or whether that's listening to some educational podcast when you have a minute, when the kids are napping or whatever the heck you got going on, like continue to invest in those things and don't just use one day to veg out. Someone asked me one time, it's like, why don't you take like rest days or enough rest days or whatever? And I had to explain, like, in my mentality is if you take one, you're going to take two. And if you take two, you're going to take four. And if you take four, you're going to take 8. And it's just like eating. Like, yeah, there's time for a cheat meal for sure. But, for the goals that I have written down, like fitness-wise, if one turns to 2, that turns to 4, that turns to 8, then what happens is you're just in a pattern that's not towards the aiming of your goals. So it can seem a little outrageous or a little bit inflexible at times, but if you're keen towards that goal, not given a foothold otherwise is probably a smart thing. So just trying to change my mindset around that. And I think in Galatians, just the whole don't grow weary in doing what's good. Stick to the reaping of what's going to satisfy our spirit. The flesh is going to let us down. A day like today can be so unmotivating to people, or just give that excuse, kind of serve it on a silver platter, and then you're like, well, I'll try again next year. My goals are already ruined. But fight the good fight, keep going. You're going to thank yourself for it. It'll change your life. Day 27.